Okay, hi everybody. Welcome back to Princess State of Mind. I am here with my very dear friend C.S. Johnson. Hi, C.S. Johnson.
Hey everybody.
Welcome back to Princess State of Mind. Oh, that's me talking. Sorry, everybody. Hold on. With my very dear friend C.S. Johnson. Okay, muting myself. Great. Okay, so we are here to talk about C.S. Johnson's new book. I don't even know if it's your latest book, because I feel like you are so prolific and put out all kinds of amazing content. If you haven't heard of her, you should totally check her out. But this book that we're going to talk about today is called Kitsuneko. It's a novella that is it's a companion novella to a new series, which is really exciting. And this show is going to be just a little bit different because I'm going to ask C.S. Johnson some questions about the book, and we're going to learn some more about the book. But then I'm going to actually turn things over to her, and she's going to ask me some questions because I had the absolute privilege of getting to record this book, Kitsuneko, for the audiobook. So I'm the narrator on the audiobook. And so we're going to learn a little bit about that and sort of behind the scenes of how to make an audiobook and all of those things. So we're both gonna interview each other today, which is awesome and exciting. So
you punish me and I punish you in return. That's how this works.
That's right. Or we just are gonna have an amazing conversation because we're so lovely. So before we get started, I want to let people know if you are watching live, there are a couple of things that you can do. One is we are giving away a couple of things. We're giving away free copies of the audiobook of Kitsuneko, which you're going to hear about in this episode, and you're going to be so excited to receive this. And another is that we are also going to give away some free audiobook copies of my book, Saving Cinderella. And so those are available to you. All you have to do to enter this drawing is in the chat box on the side, just answer this question. Who is your favorite female character in literature or film? You don't have to tell us why, although you can, but just type that into the chat box, and we will select some winners after the show. So we'll contact you after the show and get in touch with you and let you know that you've won. So if you're watching live, do that. I'll remind you again as people tune in. But that's one thing. The other thing is, if you have questions, so we're going to be asking each other questions, but if you have questions that you want to ask one or the other of us, feel free to put them in the chat. I will check in on that from time to time. But please, if you're asking a question, please precede it with the word question. So write question, and then your question. That way, when I'm like scrolling through and trying to do 8 million other things, I'll be able to tell that you are asking a question and you're not just saying hi, which is also great. Please say hi. So let's get started.
Let's get ready.
Let's say that again.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's put on our princess hats or our tiaras.
Oh, well, I got my sunglasses on today, so.
Excellent. So yeah, I will put on my pretend tiara, which I didn't. I have many tiaras, as you've all seen, but they're not here at this moment. So okay, tell us about Kitsuneko. What is it? What's it about? What's going on?
Okay, so I put most of the blame for this one on my friend Laura. She runs this site, Unicorn Quester, where she does a lot of like book fangirl work, and like for me, like I was kind of like sheltered as a child, I think, because like I just love it when people get excited about my work. Like it's seriously like it's a writer's heroine, I think, to hear that somebody likes their work. But she was looking for like more unicorn books like a year ago, and I was like, you know what, I'll just write you one and it'll be fine. And so I finally got around to doing it, and that's how it got started. But basically, the premise is I don't know how many people know this, but unicorns are so rainbows. When you see them from space, they're actually circular, and portal fantasy is really big right now. So the idea is that you have this rainbow. It's a portal to another world where it's ruled over by this unicorn, and the people there and the many fantasy races that are there are all under the kingdom of Tulakor, and they live happily ever after until they don't. So
excellent. Yeah. So this book that we're talking about now, Kitsuneko, is kind of like the introduction almost to a new series, which is called The Realms Beyond the Rainbow. So So it sounds like that's what you're describing, is this kind of like amazing unicorn portal thing, or this portal, this rainbow portal that takes you to this different realm. But tell us, first of all, what happens, just a little bit in the story of Kitsuneko. So like, what can we expect if we're going to just pick up this?
Okay, so Kitsuneko is a slave girl. She's kind of like an adopted slave girl in some sense, because the king and queen are using her like as a changeling. She's able to look like somebody else, and the king and queen had their daughter kidnapped, and they like need their daughter because the unicorn in this that keeps peace over the realms. He like it's through the women basically. So the women ruler, the queen, and when they do this, Kitsuneko is so she is acting as the princess, but she's not really the princess. She looks like the princess, but she's not actually the princess. And so she grows up kind of under this this role that's given to her, and everything is like fine, because everything's like fine until she can't hide her feelings for the princess's brother. So her kind of like she's playing the princess and the brother the prince. So, and he of course loves her too, but there's problems because since she's not really the princess, and even though she looks like the princess and everybody thinks she's the princess, like the realms are starting to fall apart and break down into coming war anyway.
Right. Yeah. So she's in love with the person that's supposed to be like her brother, but it's not her brother because she isn't actually. Right. But they are in love, but they can't do anything about it really because they're supposed to be brother and sister, right? Even though they're not.
Yes.
Okay. And also,
I'm starting to feel like this is inappropriate now.
No. That makes sense. I mean, it makes sense to me. Everyone should read the book. It makes sense. It's not weird. And then also the realms are kind of falling apart because the female line she's an imposter, and we don't really know where
it's been compromised.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know where the real princess is. And then tell us about this unicorn, because I feel like there's some kind of religious imagery going on in the story about the unicorn.
Yeah. So I kind of see him as like I'm a big C.S. Lewis fan. I love his space trilogy, and Oyarsa is the keeper of the Khandra in the space trilogy and Out of the Silent Planet. It was kind of bottled after him, with this idea that being, of course, instead of another planet, though, it's another kind of like another dimension or another realm that you would access through a magic portal. So kind of getting the best of C.S. Lewis there, frankly, with the kind of like the portals to different realms like Narnia. So people have asked me before like about that, where like how do you keep track of so many stories in your head? And it actually is Narnia imagery that I use, because in the Magician's Nephew, when Holly and what's his face? The boy. They go to Narnia using his uncle's magic rings for the first time. They see all these different pools of water, and I'm like, that's kind of how it is. You know, just they're all there, and they're all like in their own little pools. And I'm just kind of like this world keeper of a water nymph. So.
Excellent. Right. So yeah. So this is a whole new world that you're opening up for us. And so where in the timeline of the rest of the series does this book fall? Like, does it continue on from this book afterwards, or where is it in the timeline of what's coming?
Yeah. So book 1 is actually titled The Lost Princess, and so far, that's the working title. And the princess has actually been kidnapped and taken into our world.
Oh, okay.
So she grew up here in the foster care system, and she actually is a member of the Space Force. My kids really like unicorns, and so my kids really like outer space. We went to the Houston Science Center this year and stuff, and for the space program there, and they had a blast. They love it, and my husband is actually trying to get us down to Florida to go see like the Dragon X and the SpaceX things take off, if they ever schedule it when we're available. So
that would be amazing.
Yeah. So I was like, I'll write a space story for my son, and I'll write a princess story for my daughter, and got the unicorns. And actually, a lot of my best readers, I think, a couple of them have asked me more specifically for more fantasy, since I've been working on the Order of the Crystal Daggers lately. It's the historical alternative history, historical fiction, spy stuff I've been doing. So, yep. So it all came together like that.
So is this okay? So obviously I have read Kitsuneko because I had to record it, and it was awesome and I loved it. But I did not see that coming, that she is in our world and is part of the Space Force. So where does the first book in the series, like the one after this, where does it take place? Does it take place in our world or in another world, or both?
All right. So at the end of Kitsuneko, you do get to meet Cleon, the unicorn, who's like overseeing the realms, and it's supposed to be a sign that the princess has returned, and the shooting star kind of is like, it's actually a space capsule. So.
Okay, all right, this is fantastic, and now I absolutely am going to have to read this when it comes out, obviously.
Spoilers,
so,
if you know.
Well, that's okay. Yeah. Well, I hope everybody watching and listening is now really excited about this, as I am. So first of all, I just want to remind everyone, because I now see that we have some people that are tuning in. So I want to just remind everyone that if you would like to win a copy of the audiobook of Kitsuneko, narrated by me and written by C.S. Johnson, or a copy of my book, Saving Cinderella, narrated by me and written by me, you should comment in the chat box on the side of this video and let us know your favorite female character in literature or film. That's it. You just have to tell us the name of that character and you will be entered in to the drawing to win one of those books. And the drawing will be after this show. So we'll get in touch with you later after the show. So please don't forget to do that. Also, if you have a question you'd like to ask one or the other of us, please write the word question and your question. Okay, so I am now actually going to turn this over to you and sit back and stop doing this post thing. It's going to be very relaxing. And you, so yes. Yeah, so I'm going to turn it over to you to ask me some questions about the audiobook.
Yes. Okay, so audiobooks are actually really starting to like grow, and frankly, I blame Audible for this because they're always like, here, get 2 books for free if you do this free trial thing and stuff. So it's a correlation causality type thing with marketing. But audiobooks are really, really getting big and more like I'm technically like an indie author. I publish my own stuff, and I have stuff published through like regular publishers too. But I mean, like, doing my own stuff, like that's something that is like, oh, it's a new option for us. So we're always, as authors, we're always looking for people, if we're not willing to do it ourselves, which I am not, to narrate our books. And when Faith actually started doing this, I was like so grateful. I was like singing the Hallelujah chorus, skipping in the rain. So like, yay! I can go bug her for more stuff. And so I wanted to ask you. Like from the other end of it, obviously, that's why we're swapping here. So when you go into an audiobook, okay, how does it feel? Because I honestly thought about doing my own, and I'm terrified to do my own. So go walk me through your experience process.
Yeah, that's a good question. So okay, so the thing is, like, the first audiobook that I ever recorded was my own book. And that was...
Everybody should buy it, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It was available now on Amazon. And yeah, I also have a link, by the way, to Kitsuneko down at the description of this video. So please buy that one also. So yeah, I mean, reading your book aloud, first of all, if you are an author, read your book aloud just because you should. Like, you catch all the typos, all the weird constructions, everything. You should totally do it. But the thing about audiobooks is that when you've written something yourself, you hear it in your head, especially if it's fiction like this, yours is, you've got these different characters and you hear their different voices in your head. And I would imagine it's hard to find someone that can say these things in a way that is acceptable to you, because you've been living with these people all the time. So, for me, when I was reading my book, it was a lot easier because that is my voice. And so I just said it in the way that I would say it. And it just kind of came out. But for this one, so Kitsuneko is the name of the main character, and she is a teenage girl, and I am not a teenage girl. I am a girl, but not a teenage girl. And so that was sort of the first thing that I wanted to do, is to kind of get her voice right, and I hope that I did.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you. And that was kind of the first thing because it's narrated in the first person. So the whole thing is her. So I kind of decided that I was going, and another thing I decided is I'm not a voice actor. I'm not like the person that reads the Harry Potter books who can like do a distinct voice for every single character it's amazing and that exists. So I can't do that. I can't sound like a man. I can't I'm okay with like a British accent, but I can't really do any other kind of accents. So I just sort of decided that I was going to use my own voice, but sort of modulate it in different ways for different people. So I picked a little bit of a sort of higher, breathier voice for Kitsuneko, and just sort of narrated it in that way. And every time I came back to it, I listened to like what I had done before so I could remember what that sounded like. And then I did that. And then each distinct character had to have like something distinct about it. But I didn't want to like do a voice because I felt like that would come across as stupid. So I just, like the prince's voice, I just kind of used like the lowest part of my register that isn't like strong and look around, like, so like, and I just kind of tried to have everybody have a distinct thing so that you can tell who's talking when, and that's kind of how I did it, and yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah. See, what I actually really liked about you narrating it is that you kind of know me enough that like you kind of got like where I was going without like me telling you. Like that's the nice thing about having a friend do it, I think. And of course, you're very talented. So,
thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to like erase the stalking your family on Twitter. Call to action here, I think. No, your whole family's pretty talented. But
on Twitter is okay, but not in real life.
Yeah. But no, the thing I really liked about you is like I've never heard your mom, but you read like a mom, like a very fun, cool mom reading my book, and I'm like, I like that. I'm a sentimentalist at heart, and so like all your different inflections are kind of like how I would think, like somebody like reading to their child or like their friend or something, like it would just be like that. So it was really cool on my end to see the different inflections and the different ways that you changed things, but you still like kept true to yourself too at the same time. So it's good. Yeah.
Do you want to ask me anything else?
Yeah. Oh, so like getting started with audiobooks, like would you make any like recommendations for like tech or any like just psychological ones? Because obviously if you're my friend, you should have some kind of familiarity with psychological issues.
No, the good question. So yeah, so the audiobook process is actually really easy as long as you read all of the rules, which I am not very good at reading all the rules, although I am definitely a rule follower. I'm just not a very good reader of rules. But so you use anyone. This is the amazing thing. Anyone can do this. As long as the book is up on Amazon and if it's your book, you can totally do it yourself. And if it's not your book, you can audition to do it, even if you don't know the person at all. And so it's a website called ACX, and you go on there and you make an account. I literally just used GarageBand to record the things. And then, you and I had a back and forth about like, the sound quality was kind of like tinny. And then I sort of learned how to try to boost that, right? So, and then you can kind of like figure out the different levels and things that you do. But really, I mean, I am not a technologically sophisticated person at all. And I was able to do that. And yeah, and I mean, so there's that. You can buy, you can buy all kinds of different like microphones, and when you read these rules on ACX that I'm talking about, they want you to have like a padded room and all of this stuff so that your audio doesn't there's no like background noise, and that's all probably very good. I did not have that because I don't live in a mental institution where they have padded rooms, but maybe I live in a mental institution, but I don't have a padded room. So anyway, but like the work on my end or on your end, if you try to do it, is that like if you don't have all of these things like a studio and like a really professional microphone, you kind of have to record it and then listen back to it and then edit it, like sort of cut out the parts that are sort of like weird background noises are happening and things like that. And then you have to learn how to do like different levels and things like that so that you can make it sound the way you want it to sound. But once you've done that, then you just kind of upload it and you're off to the races. And it's really easy. And if someone who's watching and wondering, hey, like, can I do this? Because the thing is, like, you can do this, you can audition, you can get hired, and then they pay you money. They either pay you like, part of some royalties or a fee. And so it's really easy to just go on there and make an account and then search for who is accepting auditions. And then there's a little script, you record the script, you upload the script, and then the person gets back to you and says yes or no. So, I mean, obviously we didn't do it that way because we are friends and we worked it out on our own. But, that's the thing that people can do. And it's cool and really fun. I mean, I really enjoy it. You get to read a cool book. You get to listen to the sound of your own voice, which I don't know. Maybe that's not fun, but
the sound of our own voice some days, but you
have to like talk. I don't know. And yeah, and it's kind of like, it isn't mindless because you're trying to do something, but it's like, it isn't like, I mean, I spend a lot of my time writing things and so do you. And it's kind of like, that is like intensely like cerebral. And this is just kind of like, you do it. It's a different part of your brain, and that feels kind of fun and exciting. So yeah. So I think you don't really need a whole bunch of tech in order to do it, and it's pretty easy.
Yeah. See, when I actually like looked over the thing, I know on ACX they have, like you said, the padded room recommendation, and I'm like, okay, let me call my mental health counselor, right? It's like, I borrowed this.
Who has a padded room?
Yeah, there's just a lot of rules there. I think a lot of people miss how, like you're saying, like how simple it actually is in practice, but the words, and I'm not really a details person when it comes to like that. Like I follow directions, but like I don't actually like to read the directions.
Yes, no, exactly. It's hard to read the directions, even for a rule follower like me.
Yes. So ACX, if you're listening, man, simplify it. Got a lot of scared people out here. So with this, okay, what do you think the hardest part about recording an audiobook is? So.
Yeah, I think that the hardest part is
not dealing with the author, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're lovely to do it. No, I mean, I think other than the technical stuff, which if you don't know how to do it, it's kind of like you have to learn it. I would say that the hardest part of the actual sort of process is just kind of getting into the sort of mode and the style of the book that you're recording, So like my book is nonfiction, but it is in my sort of speaking voice. A lot of other books, like some books are nonfiction and they're very dry. Some books are fiction and they're funny. Some books are emotional. I mean, you have to sort of get into that and you have to kind of figure out beforehand. So you have to read the book. You have to figure out kind of like, okay, where am I going with this? What is it supposed to sound like? And I think that's the hardest part, and being consistent. I felt like some characters, like I had to go back again and be like, whoa, that she did not sound like that the first time. Like in chapter 1, she did not sound like that. So I have to go back and fix that. So it's sort of keeping everything consistent and keeping everything in your head as you're reading it to record it. It's like, oh, shoot. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times I had to stop and be like, oh, that was not him talking, that was her, because like you're reading everything and you're thinking about all these different things.
I will say that is one thing on the author side of it that's weird, is that when you write a book like that people read, it's easier to omit like dialogue tags are one of the things that I get flagged for. Like, you don't need he said this at the end of this, and I mean they're going back and forth. You should be able to keep track of this, and it's harder with an audio setup, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting thing too, is that like you don't want to change the words because this isn't your book. So it's not my book, so I'm not gonna like change it. But sometimes it's like, oh, like this only works written down. I mean, I found that with my book too, because like there were a lot of things where like there were quotes from songs or like, you know, quotations in the middle of a sentence. And you kind of have to figure out like, okay, how do you alert people that like, this is a different person talking, or like, this is really a song, or this is something that you wouldn't write that down. It would be very clear with punctuation and stuff and in the text. But you kind of you have to figure out how to do that. And so it is a kind of different experience. And I know like a lot of people really prefer to listen to books on, I still call it books on tape because I mean, audiobooks to reading. I mean, I remember,
mistake, so.
what do you think?
Oh, I know why you make that mistake.
Yeah. I mean, so, you know, I know that a lot of people really listen to these books and they don't do as much actual reading. And I mean, I'm one of these people that doesn't even have an e-reader. Like I read books like the Dead Tree version because it feels more immersive to me for whatever reason. And because I'm a Luddite. But anyway, so I think, you know, I think it's a really interesting experience, and it's good that there are all these different formats because people really.
Yeah, like before I started writing books and before I started like getting my books made into audiobooks, I didn't actually listen to audiobooks a whole lot. I think I still even have like, I really only have like 4 or 5 total, like out of like this like 1,000 Kindle packed thing that I have, you know, and like I started listening to them in college, or when I had to do like through my master's work, I would listen to like Thomas Mann or Dostoevsky or something, you know, it's just so I could do laundry at the same time. So
yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it is good for like if you have something else. Like I live in New York and I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I don't actually have a commute and I don't drive around in the car a lot. But when I did, I mean, like when I lived in LA, for example, like you can't be reading because you're driving, so you know, it's good to have that to put on.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people suggest like walking while you're listening to audiobooks and running and exercising. I kind of agree with that because like I mean like I have my master's in English and I taught college for a while, and like my biggest problem with people today is like when I make a joke about something, a lot of people don't know where it's coming from. It's like, this is a classic work, how do you not know this is an Easter egg for this thing? This is my homage, you know?
Right, exactly.
Even for the book that I finished last night, if you didn't see my celebratory post on Twitter, like it's a kind of like a literary fiction dark fantasy twist with like psychological, but I put a whole bunch of dystopic sort of Easter eggs in it, and I'm like, I wonder who's not gonna find these.
Right. Yeah. I mean, people. Yeah. I mean, I think it's great. I think audiobooks are great for people who don't read. Like, and I know that there are people who don't read, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But I think that in order to maintain our culture, we need to read. And so, but reading could take the form of listening. If you're not, I mean, personally, I love to read novels and I love to read certain types of nonfiction, but, you know, I really struggle with, I'm a very slow reader and I really struggle with sort of informational text. So I think like for some people, it's just really hard to read, but having something to listen to instead is.
Yeah. I kind of like it as background noise too. Like it's just, well, I mean, like cable is pretty much dead, thank God, right? And there are just some movies that like you can get sidetracked, or TV shows, if you watch them, you can get sidetracked, or some actually put me to sleep, you know? So it's like, it's nice having the audiobook to kind of keep me company while I'm cleaning my house or just getting ready for the day. You know, I have kids too, so it's nice to put the earphones in and have like normal conversation going on in my head.
Yes, I know that is. Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you. Like, I mean, for me, it's like podcasts. But when my son was little, and it was like I was feeding him or whatever, just like having another adult voice speaking to me was really useful.
Yeah.
So,
remember.
Yeah, so let's see your adult voice talking and get this. So I think we're kind of running out of time here. So I just, for the last like minute or two that we have, I want to remind. Say that again.
Faith and I could probably talk forever. So
good, and yes, and we will, but we won't let everyone listen to it. But
how do we make fun of them effectively?
I don't know, but you know, that's you know, you have to subscribe and pay to the next level to hear our private conversation. So anyway, just for those of you watching, I think that we can actually announce winners right now because I have enough people and enough things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to announce the winners of our giveaways. Then we have 2. So I'm going to announce those. And if I call your name, you have actually won. Each person has won both things. So, but what you should do is you should reach out to one of us, and I will now tell you how. So you can reach out to either one of us, and it won't be like I will only give you my book. So you can reach out either by going to my website, which is www.faithkmoore.com, and clicking on the contact thing and sending me a little note that just says, I am whoever you are, and I won the audiobooks. Or you can email CS Johnson at info@csjohnson.me. Is that right?
Yep, csjohnson.me.
Okay, and same thing. So without further ado, I'm going to just look over here. So, okay, our winners are Nancy Larch, and I'm going to just spell this, Phamkl. I don't know how to say that. And we have one more, and Kathy Hinkle. So if I just said your name, please contact us either on my website or by emailing CS Johnson. And congratulations for winning, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then so that's it. And just for everyone that's watching, by the way, some people know this, some people don't. This version of being able to chat to you via YouTube is going away. Google Hangouts is what we're using right now to have this conversation. It's going away. So I am working on other ways to have that happen. I will still be able to talk to you, I think, by myself, but having guests on is going to become a little bit trickier, but I am going to figure that out, so never fear. So we will see you for another episode of Princess State of Mind very soon. So thank you, C.S. Johnson, for
Thank you. Thank you, Faith Moore. Appreciate
my pleasure. And everyone should check out Kitsuneko. It's available on Amazon in all kinds of formats, including audiobook narrated by me, and the link is down at the bottom of this video. So thanks for watching. See you next time.
Bye.